Yeah, I'll start with the introduction. My name is Panda. I'm from the Controvert podcast where we talk about problems in societal norms and usually with like dating. But yeah, I have a background or history with being like a really big fuckboy, dated extensively. And now I'm on like the path of enlightenment, trying to right my wrongs, I guess, trying to make it more well known that we as fuckboys should have a little bit more humanity and have a little bit more responsibility. But at the same time, we still have to attract women. Like we're not going to be simping to a point where we don't attract women at all. So I think that's the discussion that me and Josh we had offline, and we're like, you know what? Let's just turn this into like a podcast. So now we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, it's kind of interesting because I kind of wonder like kind of before we get into the like viewpoints, what do you think makes a fuckboy? Because I feel like a lot of it has to do with like you know that one scale where it's like disagreeableness and neuroticism and like there's a few other things that Jordan Peterson talks about. But I think we rank very differently on that scale because I've noticed that you're not very scared of being disagreeable, and then you're also like you don't seem very neurotic. Whereas I think I'm actually like the opposite. So like I've seen some of your like stories that you send me, and it's like you're in the store like fucking around, and then you're like, oh yeah, that sounds like you know, doing that like girly doll voice. And like I would never have the balls to do that in public, but like, and you also did a prank channel, so I'm kind of curious, what's your take on like what makes someone like more of that Fboy type versus like just like a typical nice guy?
Yeah, I would look at it like, you know, you don't have to necessarily be someone who fucks around to be a fuck. Like in terms of fucking around, I mean like going to the store and being a troll. Like you could still very well be a fuckboy, even when you're this quiet, suave, and Sigma dude. You could still be that. I would say a Sigma or an Alpha could still be a fuckboy. A Sigma or an Alpha could still be like a very loyal guy, right? I think how they differentiate an Alpha and a Sigma is that like Alpha is like that really loud, and like he doesn't need to rely on like money, and that's how he gets girls, or that's how he gets like the qualities that he has, top-notch qualities. But Sigma is the one that just goes into the room. He could be very quiet and people already know who he is, and he just acts very professional. He's just like very calm and stoic, like some Andrew Tate type.
You don't think Andrew Tate's more Alpha? Like you think Andrew Tate's more Sigma?
You know, that's the thing. I feel like he's more of a chameleon. He could be Alpha or Sigma when he wants to be. But I feel like out in public, he's more like a Sigma. And then in closed doors, he's probably like more like Alpha when he gets to know you, or when he's like going like higher in energy or stuff like that. But yeah, so
I guess like public he's more of an Alpha, because like to me a Sigma is someone that like they let their presence and like actions kind of speak for themselves. Like an example is like a super rich guy that doesn't need to flex with like shit, right? And you can just tell he's like the way he carries himself, the way his mannerisms are, you can just tell he like does his own thing and doesn't really give a shit. Whereas Andrew Tate, I feel is like super like loud and like kind of obnoxious, and that's more of like the Alpha type. Like when I think of Alpha, or I don't know if it's Alpha type, because I'm also picturing like the guy in the gym that's like grunting super loud, and I don't think that's Alpha personally, but it's just loud. And I don't even know where that fits, like the loud and obnoxious type. But I feel like Andrew Tate's not Sigma to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everyone has their different sides. It's like you could be extrovert or you could be introvert at home. You could be extrovert outside of home, right? Yeah. There's a lot of times where I'm like very, very quiet. There's a couple girls that I dated. They're very astounded. Like when I'm with family, I'm very, very quiet. When I'm at work, I'm really quiet. But out with my friends, I'm so loud and I'm so troll. Like I'm like the biggest fuckboy. So back to like being a fuckboy, right? So I do think like being a fuckboy, it doesn't constitute like whether or not you're quiet or loud. Like you could very well be quiet or loud as a fuckboy. So I would say a fuckboy is someone who just like plays around, and he just doesn't really give a fuck like how many girls he's fucking and how many girls he's playing. He just doesn't really have that responsibility, and he can't really take a lot of girls serious. So yeah, that's what a fuckboy is pretty much.
Yeah, I would say like to me what a fuckboy is more definitely someone who like gets girls and like kind of like dates around. But I feel like there's a component of just like, I don't want to say honesty, but more like they like it could just be like nature, but it's like they're like they might not be upfront with the girl. Like they might like try to get into like a few just like like spin plates or like situationships as opposed to like settle with one girl. And then but then the difference between like a fuckboy and like maybe a nice guy is like how direct and like transparent they are. Because to me, like usually fuckboys don't like girls don't really know where they stand. There's kind of like an element of like, oh, is this guy seeing other girls or whatever? That like that's kind of where I see like a fuckboy versus like someone who gets like a lot of girls can also not be a fuckboy if they're just like super transparent with each of them, right? I guess that's like fucking polyamory.
Like a gentleman. So we could differentiate it with
a
gentleman, a nice guy, and a fuckboy. So these are 3 different categories, I would say. Yeah, like a gentleman, I feel like he would give like that girl a little bit more promise and a little bit assurance that he's not fucking around. Yeah, I would say most of my past is being a fuckboy, but like mostly now I'm more like that gentlemanly approach with women. I would say. But yeah, I'm currently dating someone who I'm taking very seriously, and yeah, I mean that the whole fuckboy thing. I think even when I'm dating her, we don't have a title, by the way, and like if it was like back then in my fuckboy stages, like she wouldn't be trusting me, and she would still look at me like fuck me. But she always tells me, she's like, I look at you more like a sigma than like a fuckboy alpha, and I'm like, oh shit, all right, cool, that's a dope compliment. But yeah,
so like I guess for you, do you think it's a matter like when you were kind of more like in that stage, like you didn't find someone good enough, or is it like, because I have friends that they like literally like need, like they're fucking dopamine junkies, like they need that like stimulation of like variety, whereas like I can't relate to that because I think for me like the only way I can really, you know, get misinterpreted as a fuckboy is during like maybe the first few dates, like very early stages, but I'm able to make a decision within 3 dates usually, like do I like this girl or do I not? And it's more of like a decision tree. Like it's like, okay, I like her enough where I want to date her, I'll just keep pursuing. Or if I don't feel that way, it's just gonna like veer off to the no, right? It's like a decision tree. Whereas like I feel like fuckboys play a lot in that like kind of middle area where they're just like in that gray zone and they're like they excel at it, right? But I personally feel really bad if a girl likes me and then I would have no interest in like dating her to like actually I would never like keep seeing her just for the short-term gains, right? The benefits.
Yeah. So that's what I was gonna disagree with you on. It's not really like we have a gray area as fuckboys. It's more like we have a third branch. So you said one is like you would date her, one is like you wouldn't date her after the third date. Ours is like, I would say after the first date, we have this middle path where it's like, all right, do we want to just fuck or do we want to actually just get to know this chick? So it's not really like a gray area, but more like a middle path where we're like, okay, like
intention.
We can only use this chick for fucking, you know. And
all right, let's use a different word, just like
yeah, we're saying that too much.
My mom watches my channel sometimes, bro. Come on.
I don't want to get demonetized, bro. Spamming that word.
No, if my mom is like watching this, dude, like somehow like my family member know about my channel, so it's like,
oh really?
Well, she's like randomly will like send me like screenshots of her watching like my video. I'm like, I'm like, Mom, can you like unsubscribe, please? I'm gonna change like to a different name.
It's cool.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead. So basically, there's like intention, right? So it's like LTR material or hookup is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think like we categorize it. It's kind of like similar to how women they categorize men. Like, do I just want to use this guy for like money, or do I want to use this guy for? I'm not saying like all women, right? So don't cancel me, whoever's watching this. But I feel like a lot of women they categorize men like, should I use this guy as a money bank? And there's like another category for another guy who is like, should I use this guy for actual love or should I just use this guy for fucking? The Netflix show, what was it called? You, YOU, that one Netflix show where it shows like this really weird looking dude and he's like kind of a creep. Dude, like the first season, there's this girl called, I think Brooke, right? She had different guys for different things at the very start. And this guy, the main protagonist, he was like stalking her. He was like, why does she have like different guys for different things? And she was even talking like her girlfriends for that shit. Yeah, like I said, it's not all women that are like that. It's just probably like maybe some women, not not all, not a majority, but some women, right? So kind of like that.
I think usually I would say for both genders, I would say like, as humans, the people who can operate like that typically rank on this psychopathy scale. Like okay, here's an example from a guy's perspective. The guys I've met who are very good at like pickup or even sales, let's use like business, like really good salesmen, they have to be like psychopathic to a point where they don't really like okay, like for me, I think I'm bad at sales because I'm too empathetic. So sometimes I'll be like, oh, well, I feel like I'm like, because if you sell someone and you have a high margin, you know, they're getting a worse end of the deal. But like, let's say like someone that's like more of like a psychopath, they only care about like themselves and they really don't really give a shit about like the other person. Same way they like a lot of PUA guys, right? They're very like not transparent because they don't really see it from the girl's perspective. Like, oh, is it kind of weird this guy is like talking to like a bunch of like 100 girls at the mall? Like, you know, they don't really see it from that. They don't even put themselves in the shoes of the girls. So like for people who are really good at PUA, they just like are machines. All they care about is like getting laid essentially, right? So they're like, okay, what can I do to get there? And I think like the same thing for girls, like the ones that kind of like more like use guys, they don't really care about the guys. They're really more self-centered. So I personally think there's like a bit of a tie to like how psychopathic and like not empathetic someone is, and like how they're able to like operate like that.
That's the thing. I think we as a society, we break down this whole fuckboy thing, but then we don't like call out girls for using guys for money, which is kind of crazy. And I feel like there's a double standard that society is now adhering to, and they don't really give a shit about like how there's a lot of loser guys out there who are just getting the short end of the stick. They probably spend all this money on a girl and they don't even get at all, or even a relationship. Oh, fuck, I shouldn't have.
Yeah, it's common. yeah.
Yeah, dude. So I feel like there definitely needs to be more awareness on this issue, that it's not just one gender. It's not just like girls that are dealing with a-holes, but also guys who are dealing with a-hole women, right? So
yeah, that's where like it's really tough for me, to be honest, because here's the thing, right? I think my default state was like, especially when I like sucked at dating, and by sucked I just mean like the way I judge dating success is like, okay, there's like different stages. Are you able to like go on dates, right? Like let's just use online dating. That's what I use. Can you get matches? Can you like go from matches to dates? Can you go from dates to second dates and then second dates beyond, right? Like there's a few like floodgates, and like if you're able to pass those with like high conversion rate, then I think that's like how you measure dating success in my lens. So when I was like worse with dating, I was definitely more of like that naive nice guy or whatever. And like now I do understand that kind of having more fuckboy tendencies, and you know, just like not being as invested or like available, because that's like kind of like the classic like nice guy, right? They're like fucking always there for the girl, or like overly available. I know that works for attraction because like as humans we want what we can't have. But at the same time, like it does feel a bit like playing games. I think like for me, the only times I like intentionally like it's like genuinely I'm like slow at responding or whatever is I'm on a date with a different girl, right? It's like I'm not even trying to play games, but like the point I'm trying to get at is I feel like because there's a lot of spoiled apples in society nowadays with dating, like on both ends, right? On the guys' ends, you got like guys that are just like you know, like the guys that just like sleep around and then like kind of like traumatize girls, and then on the girls' end you have like the girls that like go on a bunch of dates and they don't like give the guy anything in terms of like physical touch or like intimacy.
Yeah,
it kind of just like ends up like spoiling the dating pool. So like the number of girls and guys that are like kind of normal, and I think like most guys, they just want like a relationship with the girl they like and probably have kids. Like the number of people that are capable of doing that in today's dating pool, it like as you get older, it becomes less and less because people have more negative experiences that really sours their taste in the mouth when it comes to dating. So
actually,
yeah, what's your take on that?
It's getting more and more. I feel like with more women like experiencing guys. Sorry, you kind of bugged out a little bit. Okay, so yeah, I feel like with more girls like experiencing guys, it's kind of like classified as trauma to them, and then their way of internalizing it is by going like, okay, you know what? I'm going to go and treat other guys the same way and just start using them for money. I had a couple exes. Like I was a fuckboy with some of my exes. I never cheated on like my ex-girlfriends, but I would just treat them not so well. Like I'd be like checking out this girl, and I'd be like, oh damn, that girl's kind of hot. I kind of want to holla. So I kind of like holla in front of her, and it was straight fuck. It was just like I'm
but
kind
like,
of flirting
why
with
did you
the
do
girl.
that? Like, why did you like what did you just like not like? I'm just kind of curious because for me, I would never do that because it's like it'd make the girl feel bad, and like, you know, if I put her in my shoes, I wouldn't really want her doing the same shit. But I'm kind of curious, like in your mind, like how come you're able to do that?
So it's not that I'm able to do that. It's just more like not like I have this higher status or higher authority that I'm able to do that. It's more like I was doing that because I would say immaturity, but also I had this like concept or perspective that, look, we all check out women, we all check out men, even if we're in a relationship, we're all checking out people. Okay, it's just human nature. You can't just automatically close someone's ability to check someone out and find someone attractive,
right?
Because then they're just going to develop like resentment for you because you're telling them not to go with their their natural ability to like just check out someone. It's like this
I know. I think like
but here
I think like no I agree with that. I agree with that. I'm just saying like what's like you're like verbalizing you're checking them out, right? It's kind of like in general as humans we all like kind of operate with like we're always making judgments where like it's kind of like real-time analytics, right? It's like, okay, this guy is acting a certain way, he's probably rich or whatever. But or like in this case, if this girl's like super hot that's over there, obviously we're all gonna like look and like check them out, or like a super jack guy. But I think the difference is like why like I guess I can't like if I'm like with a girl, I just wouldn't like be like, oh shit, that girl's like super hot. Maybe unless the girl is like bisexual or something, and then she can agree. But like because in a way it's kind of like negging, I feel like, where you're kind of saying it and then it like indirectly puts the girl down. So I'm just curious, like, yeah, like why do you say it? Is it more kind of like you don't really think about that like next like the effect of it, or you're just like intentionally doing it?
So I think it's this kind of plays a role with a lot of things, right? I feel like this kind of like for me, mostly it was like I wanted to be honest with my girlfriend, and it wasn't like I was flirting with them to do something like wrong intentionally. It was more like I'm just like having fun and just keeping that social ability and just like screwing around. And most of the time, it's not really like actually flirting. It's more like I was a troll, dude. I was super troll. Like if people don't know, I have a prank channel called Legend Panda TV, and anyone can look it up. It actually has more subs than this. But yeah, I had a prank channel, and I was just known as being a really big troll, and I wanted to be kind of living in that embodiment of being a troll. But then it got to a point where I was like, you know what? Like being a troll is a little bit too old. And I would say within like the past few years, I was just like, I can't keep doing this. And so I was like, I gotta act a little bit more professional. And that's another thing. I feel like being a fuckboy, I was also a little bit insecure. Because I didn't have qualities. I didn't feel like I had skills that I could actually be confident in. So I kind of externalized it by finding external validation from these women and just like sleeping with a bunch of women. And that made me feel good. And I want to kind of ride against this because I have friends that do this. And dude, I will tell you, after years of being a fuckboy, you have to find internal confidence. You have to internalize your confidence instead of finding external validation. Because if you're just going off with all these girls to try to find like these external validations or try to get your communication skills up, dude, you don't need to do that. Bro, once I started this podcast, actually a big component of why I wanted to do this podcast is to improve my social skills. And once I started this, I was like, dude, I don't even need to be a fuckboy anymore, which is crazy. Once you find that internal validation, you make that validation internal, you just naturally gravitate against wanting to do these degenerate things. So I would say being a fuckboy more so stemmed from like that lack of confidence and just immaturity. And so, yeah, it wasn't right. But I had my reasons, and I didn't pursue these girls. At least it's way better than like arranging dates with these girls on the down low, right? Because there's a lot of guys that do that. A lot of guys do that shit. So I was gonna say, I was gonna say before you cut me off, right? It's just, remember how I was talking about like it's natural to check out girls. It's like, for example, if a guy just starts rubbing me, dude, it's gonna get hard. I can't.
Wait, what? wait,
it's gonna get hard, even though I'm straight, right? It's just our body's nerves.
Like touching it, or like just touching you.
You know what I'm saying? Right?
Okay.
Yeah. It's gonna get I thought about this. I'm not gay, right? I'm very, very straight. But if someone were to touch me, it would honestly, dude, I can't help it, dude. Right? It's just natural shit. It's kind of like when you're out and about and it's cold outside and your nipples get hard. Yeah, dude. There's nothing you can. It's just
that's true. I can relate. You can, like, no, I can't relate in terms of like being gay like you, but I can relate in terms of like the the biological thing, right? Because it's like I was in the hot spring like 2 days ago, and like, you know, when like it's hot temperature, like, you know, you get more excited. But then I went to the cold tub and immediately like it shrank, right? So like I can agree. There's some biological effects going on here. But okay, let me
example. But yeah, I just wanted to throw in that
I got you, bro. I got you.
I like to be
gay. All right, back to straight topics. Essentially, like, listening to your perspective, you know, it's actually quite interesting because we're almost like two sides of the same coin, in the sense that like you were kind of I don't even like say like being a fuckboy, but you're kind of just more like what's it called? I don't even know another verb for it, but like you would tell girls like, oh, this other girl's cute, or whatever. Like, you know, you like say whatever and like troll more because of external validation, right? But in a sense, like my problem was actually the same thing, whereas like I was so scared to express what I was thinking, or like I really wanted people to like me. So in response, I would just be really safe and like super. It's like we're having a conversation. I would just be like, oh, what do you think? And then I would just agree with everything the person says, because I think, oh, they might like me because I'm like not being, you know, I'm being more conflict adverse. Yeah. But I think like something that helped me as well is like creating content, because I think now, like when I meet new people, I just have so many more opinions. I can tell way more stories, and overall, I'm just much more interesting compared to when I was like more of like the nice guy, like filtered, dumbed down version of myself. And I think that's where most guys struggle. Like it's not necessarily looks, because the truth is, girls aren't like guys in terms of like how they judge looks. Like, you know, guys judge looks of other guys way more strictly than girls do. I think for most girls, it's kind of just like, oh, like it's like, oh, do I find him attractive or not? And obviously, like, you know, there's some levels to it. But for guys, it's like, oh, we're gonna treat this girl that's like average, not as well as a girl that's like hella hot, right? Like, that's the difference in terms of perceived attraction. But where girls do have more, I think, like wiggle room in terms of like their variability is like the personality aspect, and like they'll be more drawn to a guy that can like express themselves versus not, right? That's why you see a lot of guys like who aren't the best looking do better with girls than guys who are, right? Like looks aren't everything. And I think that's like something, you know, that's changed a lot for me once I started creating YouTube videos and like doing content creation.
Yeah. Before we continued, I'm going to talk a little bit about like psychotic things. I kind of want to go back to that. But did you have any like chat messages? Did anyone?
Oh yeah, this guy said you're not a
maybe the left guy, but dude on the right doesn't have the looks for that. Okay.
And then this guy said agreed. So agreed. So how do you respond to my chat?
Yeah, so I think I could say the Rad Fire, and who's the other guy? John. So I could say
John's comment.
This is pretty much proof. Like I've seen the ugliest dudes be the biggest fuckboys, bigger fuckboys than me, Fboys. Let's just say Fboys. And so I think the fact that they're assimilating looks to like being a Fboy, they're already wrong. You know, that's the problem, because you don't need to have looks to be a Fboy. I've seen so many guys that are just like, they look really like nice guys, but they're the most deceptive dudes. even nicer looking than Josh, because Josh looks super innocent. But there's guys that look more innocent and even nerdy. And dude, I'm telling you, their body counts are through the roof, man. I could tell you, oh man, I shouldn't even say my body count, but yeah.
No, you don't. Yeah. So,
These dudes are above 100, right? With their body count. But anyways, do we have other chats that we wanted to go through?
I actually kind of want to like refute a point. I don't think I look innocent actually. The feedback I get the most on dates is a lot of girls think I'm gonna be a fuckboy or like more serious and like cold. But I think because my personality is naturally like the opposite of that change up, like I think has helped me a lot with like dating in Taiwan, especially.
Oh, you're saying like you look more Fboy, but then you're actually innocent. Like that.
Yeah, it's the other way around. Like I've gotten that feedback from every single girl I've dated here, like on dates with. Is they're like, oh, 我没有想象你会这样子. Like they're like so like surprised, and I think that's kind of what like like I think that's what like maybe like attracts them is like that dichotomy.
Yeah, it's like that polarity difference. I always call it like polarity opposition because it's like it messes with a girl's mind. And I kind of need to correct myself. So what I meant when I said you look like a nice guy is after the fact. Remember when I first met you, I was like, dude, you look like a really alpha dude, like a F-boy, right? But then after we started talking more, I was like, yeah, you look more innocent and like you're like a nice guy. I think it's like after the fact. I think that's what a lot of girls like they find very interesting, because if you're like the opposite of what you look, they're just like so mindfucked to the point where it's like more attractive. I think that's why these guys who look like nice guys but choose the path of the dark side of being like an F-boy, they end up having like the highest body counts because they're just dudes that naturally mindfuck a girl like a lot because their looks and then their personality is just like crazy. I think
you know what's crazy is like sorry to cut you off. Like one of the people I know who like is like he was like one of the biggest F-boys of LA. Like my friend described him as someone that like literally dated like every single like decent looking Asian girl, and he was actually the most unassuming guy. Like I met him before. He's like very quiet. He's like a PA, so like medical field. And I think the reason he was able to like get these girls is because on paper he looked like the perfect kind of like candidate for like a husband material. But then secretly this guy is just like sleeping with so many girls. And he actually is like engaged now. But like we were like, dude, this guy's never gonna like settle down. And like it totally like exemplifies what you just said.
That's the thing. Like I feel like the innocent looking guys are like the biggest potential of looking like an F-boy or the ugly dudes.
100%.
Because dude, it's just such a mindfuck to the girl. And for a guy who looks like F-boy and he acts like a F-boy, it's different. I mean, he still gets like girls, but then it's not the level that these guys get girls. So yeah.
I would agree with that actually. If anything, I would actually say that like if you look like an F-boy, it's actually harder to be an F-boy without like a certain like without being like a nice guy. And like hear me out. If I come off super strong like F-boy vibes, like with these girls, they already have their guards up on the first date because they already have a perception of me from my dating profile that like, oh, this guy's just trying to F, right? This guy's trying to, I don't know why I just censored that. That sounded super sus. This guy's just trying to fuck, right? but like versus like the super like innocent looking guy, they're never gonna like. It's kind of like the traps, right? It's like an F-boy. Like if you're trying to like set a snare, it's very, you can see the trap from a mile away. Whereas these like innocent guys, it's like the trap that's under the leaves where like you're just like walking and then they just like fall through the hole. Yeah, like that's the difference, right? So it's like it's way more effective for like innocent looking guys to be F-boys if they want to, because of like what we're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I was gonna say.
John has a. Oh, by the way, John is saying like no hard feelings, brother.
Oh, dude, don't worry about it, John. I really appreciate it, man, and I appreciate your respect. I mean, dude, girls have called me ugly before. I mean, guys have called me ugly. Guys have said like my nostrils are big as fuck. I mean, it really is.
No, your nostrils aren't that big. I've seen bigger.
They would say I look like a monkey. Honestly, nothing phases me. But yeah, I mean, I just want to make the point that I'm not trying to be defensive, but it truly is like dude, I've seen so many ugly or nerdy guys post so much. Like they're like the top of all the F boys. They're the top. It's crazy. And I was gonna make a point where, like, for example, if a F boy looking dude tries to act like a nice guy, it gets looked at as very pretentious. So, Josh, I don't think you act like a nice guy with these girls. I think what it is, you act more like a Sigma. And so I think when they see that, they're like, "Oh, he looks F boy, but he's actually a Sigma," which makes him more attractive.
Okay,
dude.
I can see
this guy Josh is having some good stuff in Taiwan. Like he's
is that, dude, you know what's crazy is like I don't even think dude.
I think you found your lover there, huh?
Oh yeah, I'm in love right now, but that we can say that for I'm on a wife quest.
Wait, we aren't going to talk about that?
Wait, I actually I want to just let's circle back to after I talk about this real quick. Okay. So Doge 123 says anyone can be an F boy if they're bagging up 2 out of 10 girls. Lamau. I kind of you know what?
Didn't this guy say like something? I forgot what he say last time. What was his comment last time?
I don't remember, but like yeah, I guess it does look familiar. And then this guy's kind of saying like, you know, he's agreeing. I actually kind of agree with this statement because, okay, this is my take. Once you have like let's say like everyone's kind of like equal in terms of like how they can date, it becomes a matter of standards because the guys who do get like laid the most tend to like they're willing to like sleep with anything, man. Like it's like I've seen some guys that, you know, we go out and then at the end of the night, it's like, all right, let's get some food, go home. But they're still fiending, and you know, they'll see some like sus girls, and I'm just like, whoa.
Hey, I've been there. I'm not gonna lie, I've been there. But at the same time, like, I still bagged some baddies. I bagged. I would say not a lot of the girls I bagged were baddies. More so, I would say average to like above average or so. But I've seen some big ass fuck boys. Dude, they bagged so many hot girls. I'm like, what the hell? And yeah, these are most of the boyfriends I have, huh?
But do they also like? Okay, you've seen them like get with really attractive girls.
Yeah. But
do they also just get with like a big sample size of girls? So you happen to be like you're kind of like being impressed by like the upper echelon of their range, but you don't see like or are they just selective?
Well, okay, like when they first started like their Fboy conquest, they're like getting anything. But then now they've advanced so high in the game where they get all these hot girls. I'm like, holy damn, it's crazy. I'm like, damn, I think I retired a little bit early. I gotta go back into being an F-boy, man. But I'm like, nah, it's cool. It's cool.
Wait, I'm laughing at the comment too.
Yeah, like, Doge, I remember you're the Gen Z, you're the Gen Z guy, yeah. And then
dude, that shit's so funny.
You're saying that you're probably a Gen Z, yeah. And then he was like, yeah, I'm a Gen Z. Yeah, it's that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I personally think like for them, like, okay, there are definitely like exceptions where these guys, like, there are going to be guys out there that just like their range happens to be like maybe like 5+. But I would say the majority of like guys, because like most guys kind of skew towards average, their range is going to be like, dude, it's going to be like 2 to 6. Like, I think the majority of guys who are willing to like sleep, like if they have high body counts, their like lower minimum threshold is 100% lower than like a normal guy's. I'm like convinced of that.
If I were to give an honest opinion of the average of the girls that like their looks, I would rate it probably a 6.5. I would say.
Well, I'm not talking about you though. I think you actually have like really good like. I'm just thinking of guys that just like are very average type of guys, because I'll say like you have a good like personality and like you're cool. Yeah. So like I'm not talking about you as an example.
Yeah, but I'm just saying like if we want to talk about like all F boys, I would say like their average is probably like the same as me, probably like 6.5, because they have this wide range of like maybe 2s to like 8s, but then at the same time, I don't think a lot of them are 2s or even 4s. Like most of them are probably like 5 to 7, but yeah,
it's just I would say it's more like I'd say it's probably more 4 to 5. But this is okay. This is like semantics.
Yeah, it's whatever. Yeah, let's just
I'd say like we can agree that like the majority of the girls are probably more mid. because there has to be a reason these guys are just like hooking up with them and then like moving on to the next one too. Because like by definition, if you find someone that's like good enough to settle with, you're gonna just like kind of like stop. Like, why would you choose like a mid girl over like a really good option if you have potential with a good option? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, okay. So I guess that's a good segue to like what I was trying to get back to with the psychoticness. So I think a lot of these Fboys, they're super psycho. Even though I've been an Fboy, right? The thing is, I've never been like psychotic like that, where I just wanted to not find a girl at all. Like, even if it was like a good girl that came into my life, like I would make that girl my girlfriend and I would take her very seriously, aside from like the trolling and all that stuff, right? But a lot of these guys who are Fboys or in the PUA space, they're dudes that like anything good that comes their way, they will not take serious because they can't even control their goddamn thing down there, man. Like these guys.
What do you?
I want to get it out of the way that not all Fboys are really horny. Like me, right? I'm actually not that horny. Like I probably have some action, like maybe 2-3 times a week. But some of these Fboys, they're doing it like 2-3 times a day on a daily basis. And that's how much they need that. They need this abundance mindset. That they need this abundance too. Not just a mindset.
You just described me like a loser, dude. Like, who the fuck has time to like do it twice a day, like every single day? Like,
that's what I'm saying. We need to change these Fboys, man. Like, we need to make it more well known that they need to rely more on themselves and internalizing confidence rather than seeking external validations. But if they have a genetic disorder where they constantly need puss, they're fucked. Like if you're constantly getting a hard on while you're in class or constantly getting a hard on while at work, I'm like, yeah, dude, I can't save you, bro. Like, you gotta figure that out.
But I kind of think like to be honest, like when you talk about like the Fboy experience, you're actually describing like less than like 1%, because like most guys can't even get laid. So I feel like when like I think most people can't relate when you're saying like the archetype you described just now, like of the kind of loser like PUA guy. I can only think of like maybe like a handful of people, and usually they're coaches. Like usually like these guys who become PUA coaches, like they have no better like skills, so they just like try to teach getting laid, and that becomes their whole life, right? But to be honest, I think most guys can't like relate to that statement, because like nowadays dating's so hard to the point where like most guys can't even like get second dates or like first dates.
True. Yeah. I guess, yeah, it is an outlier, but at the same time, you know, I do want to talk about like the outlier within the outlier, because within these psychotic Fboys, there's also like Fboys that are not psychotic. I'm not trying to boast, but like I would say like I wasn't like that type of Fboy. It was more so I sought external validation. That's why I was doing this. But the ones that are psychotic are the ones that are like super mad horny, and they just can't get out of this rut. And they're also seeking external validation, but they make it the whole embodiment of their life, and they don't seek a way out of it. And they instead they want to embrace it. And that's why their psychotic levels of being a Fboy is way through the roof. Than like for me, like at least like I still had some humanity, and I was like, yes, dude, I can't keep doing this. And I would take girls serious when they came.
Yeah. I guess we can like segue to like I guess, when did you start taking girls seriously?
I would say like I always took girls serious, but it's only like when they came, like when good girls came, that's when I took them like very serious. But when it was just like, okay, like this girl, she's only good for like effing, right? But now, even if a girl is just like only good for effing, I'd be like, nah, not worth my time. I got way too much stuff to handle. So I'm like, yeah, like I think that's the difference between being an Fboy, because like when you don't even want to spend that time to just have a hookup, you're just like, yeah, like you're definitely graduated from like being an Fboy now.
Okay. So it's more like, yeah, 'cause I guess I can't relate at all, because like that situation you just described of like kind of hooking up with a girl that you would just only hook up with but can't consider seriously. I just would prefer not to do that. Like, I have no desire. Like it's weird for me. And you know this because we talk about it offline. I've had a few instances where like I've been into a girl and then like have some post clarity, and then after that happens, I want nothing to do with that girl. Like I just end it and tell her like I'm not interested, right? Like I would never like keep hitting that girl up just because I want to like do that.
Yeah.
First, like for whatever reason, I just get hella turned off, and I want absolutely nothing to do with them, right? So it's like, yeah, I guess like maybe I'm just like not like driven enough by just the act of it. Because for me, I think it's very emotional. Like I think that if you do it and it's like you like the girl, it's like 100 times better than just like a meaningless like ONS.
Yeah, so like as someone who's like been through like both sides of the coin, I guess, I would say that there's times when I was like a Fboy, I just wanted to keep these girls as much as possible for as long as possible. Oh, I can't hear you guys. Okay.
I think your stream is just whack, dude. Because I listen to your stream and then mine. Because we're streaming it on my
Yeah. I'll probably just use your stream later, but oh, man, okay, I gotta fix that. I don't know what happened. It looked okay. Jai, if you want to turn up your volume, then you could probably hear us. The volume is
or just come to my stream.
Dang, dude.
No, I'm not from like a practical standpoint. Like literally the audio is better on my stream, bro.
Yeah.
Because we're streaming it through my channel.
Yeah.